I know you're a fan, huge
Hey,
sports fan, Ryan, and your passion for high school athletics in North Dakota is probably not touched by a lot of other sports fans. So that's pretty cool. But Jason Simpfeder for the AD in Beulah. This is my eighth year as the athletic director. Feel pretty fortunate to be in that role. This is actually my 34th year in education, if you can believe that. I mean, you look at my face and you go, "Yeah, that guy's been around the block a time or 42." So, but I've been in Beulah since 1992. Um, Fortunate to have been around some really great coaches and other people within our system in that time. So you graduated in 2016, got to be part of the kind of a run of really good football program. Our teams in Hazen in 12 and 13, I think you guys had state championships. We got one in 2015 here in Beulah, but coach football for 31 years, coached track for probably 14 or 15 or something like that. So that's kind of my background. I'm a graduate of Washburn High School in 1988. So yeah, it's a little bit about me. I've taught everything from fourth grade through eighth grade and full classroom stuff, and been in the tech department for a while, and then have transitioned into the athletic director and some tech stuff. So that's a little background on me.
yeah, I'll ask some questions that I have, okay?
Absolutely.
What is your favorite sport?
I am really a football fan. Um, it was the only thing that I had moderate success at as a high school athlete. It's my favorite sport to coach. I really did enjoy track in field. I think that's a wonderful sport for kids. Um, but I like baseball and softball. I guess I like them all to varying degrees. But football is my favorite.
What all sports did you play in school?
Well, I was in track. Obviously, I was not a runner, but and I played baseball for a year because I wanted to be on a winning program, and we had a really good baseball coach in Len Stanley. All of my friends were baseball players in high school, so I did that. I quit track my senior year. Probably not a great decision. I was actually a pretty decent shot putter and a marginal javelin thrower. Um, but I played baseball for one year, and I was a manager for the basketball team. I knew early on in my sports career, probably third or fourth grade, that I was never going to be a good basketball player, and so I just didn't go any further with that. So I was a football player, um, and track and baseball for a year. I was not a very good baseball player, but I just wanted to be on a winning program. And then I helped out with the basketball team just because I wanted to be with my buddies and miss school. That was the easiest way that I could get out of school and not have to worry about making a lot of time up afterwards. So that's kind of what I did in high school.
Who are your favorite pro and college sports teams?
Well, I guess just growing up, my favorite baseball team was the Cubs. Back in the day with Ryan Sandberg and Mark Grace and Sean Dunston and those guys. WGN was always playing games when I was at my buddy's place in town. Living in the country, we only got a couple channels, so we didn't get to see a lot other than maybe a Saturday game or a Sunday game for baseball. But I was a Cubs fan in high school and in junior high. I was a Chicago Bear football fan. That was my professional football team. Again, the glory days with Walter Payton, the '85 Bears. That was always fun. Basketball, of course, I got sucked into Michael Jordan, and so those were the ones there. In college athletics, I've always been an Oklahoma Sooner fan. Again, going back to Barry Switzer and the whole Boz and the gang. I've got a Boz autographed football. I've got a Sooner helmet in my office, a Billy Sims autographed mini helmet. So a big Sooner fan. College basketball, maybe the Tar Heels. Just probably the everybody else's favorites for the most part. You're either a Tar Heel fan or a Duke fan or a Jayhawk fan. It seems like the rest of the teams are you have some marginal or not marginal fan bases, but those are the big ones. But that's kind of the teams that I kind of pay attention to. I'm not as much of an NFL watcher as I used to be, or NBA. And baseball, and I would watch the Twins, but when Fox Sports North disappeared and they went to whatever channel and it wasn't on regular cable, I didn't follow as closely.
Um, who is your favorite athlete?
Geez, right now, um, I don't, I'm not really sure as far as far as like as a professional. There's a lot of guys that are just so ridiculously athletic and talented. Um, I'm kind of a defensive guy on football, so I like that. Um, I really liked watching J.J. Watt play. His brother, TJ, is fun to watch. Miles Garrett from the Browns. I mean, he might be a bright spot on a really terrible team. So some of those kinds of guys that are just freakishly athletic. I liked watching Warren Sapp play because he was didn't really look like he was super athletic because he's kind of chunky, but man, did he play hard. It's just that kind of guy, the high motor guys that really get after it. Those were my kind of guys.
Do you still coach the defense coordinator?
No, so this was my I haven't coached for 2 years. So I took a year off. Probably in 2020, I didn't coach that fall. Um, and then I got back into it I had to coach some junior high the next year. And then went back to the varsity for 2 years. And then when Coach Dooley left and went to Watford City, I said that I was going to be done. So I haven't coached now for 2 years. Um, it's freed up some time to pay more attention to the fall volleyball and cross country and those sorts of things. So I do miss some of it. I miss being around the kids as much as I used to be, and some of those sorts of things. But it was a good move for me to probably step back and let somebody else come in and do some of that high level high level stuff.
What are some major highlights or memorable games you played in?
Ooh, that I played in. Well, my career record as a football player was not very good. We had 10 total wins in my high school career. I do remember my sophomore year playing against the Hazen Bison, and we just got absolutely throttled. Um, so that was one that wasn't a highlight. That would probably be a low light, but I remember that. Probably another big game we had. Again, this is how bad my career was as a high school player. We were 4-4, and our last game of the year, our coach came into the locker room and he said, "Well, guys, this is a pretty big game for you. Do you want to be remembered as a winner or a loser?" And so we ended up winning and we went 5-4. That was my best football year I ever had as a player, 5-4. We have kids here that complain when they, win 8 or 9 games. It's, oh man, we weren't very good. You had more wins sometimes in one season than I did in my whole career. So I think we have some kids around here that get pretty spoiled.
Yeah. So which side do you think is more important, offense or defense? A little more.
Well, so I watched your interview with Coach Nelson from Divide County, and I think he said he's a defensive guy, and so I do think obviously you have to score points, but I do think that defense, whether it's in baseball or basketball or football or even volleyball for that matter, if you can limit the number of points that your opponent can score, it makes it so much easier for the people on the other side of the ball uh, to win in my estimation. I think of a basketball team. If you can hold a team to 42 points, you only have to score 43 because sometimes the ball might not go in the hoop. So it makes it easier if you play really, really good defense, um, instead of just trying to outscore your opponents all the time. So I say defense, but I'm a little jaded. I was a defensive guy for pretty much my whole coaching career. So I do think that if you can help a team, uh, your offensive team out by limiting the number of points they have to score, I think it makes it just a lot easier for that coach.
What made you get into being a coach?
Well, part of it was I just loved sports. I knew I was, you know, I wasn't going to be a superstar athlete, and I wasn't. I was probably average at best, but I really loved being around it. And when I first started, I was not very good. I was not a very good coach. Um, I had to learn a lot because just what I had known wasn't enough. But I always wanted to be able to coach against my former high school coach, and I wanted to win a game against him. And I don't know if Coach Mo from Washburn will ever watch this. I'm not going to send him this and let him know, but but I always wanted to beat him, and so my record against the old Washburn Cardinals as a coach was pretty good. Obviously, I never really got to coach against Coach Mo or Coach Schwan back then, but that was it. I wanted to have an impact on a positive impact on kids' lives. Sports is very important to me. I think you learn a lot through sport, and uh, and I just wanted to do it that way. I wanted to give back a little bit. Coach Mo was a really big influence for me, and uh, and so I wanted to give back, and I think I did that, or I've done that. I hope I have. I do chat with a lot of former players, and uh, and I hope I made a positive impact in their life, um, more as a person than as a football player or as a track athlete or whatever. But I think that's the important part, and I think giving back to those kids and forming those relationships and helping them out was really a part of why I did that.
What hobbies or interests do you have outside of your position?
Well, I do watch a lot of college football. I enjoy traveling to college games, and go to the Bison games when we get a chance. And um, my great high school friend and college buddy, we try to hit a big college game, every year or every other year, to do that. So I like doing that. I enjoy hanging out at the lake, being on the water when the weather is decent. Um, Probably like most middle-aged to whatever aged man I am. I like to smoke meats on my meat smoker and do some of those sorts of things. And so that's kind of what I do. I'm usually at home a lot. I like to make sure my grass is green and looks good too. That's the stereotypical old man in the neighborhood kind of thing. Make sure your lawn looks good and those sorts of things. So I enjoy some of that yard work and smoking meats and hanging out with some friends. That's a pretty boring lifestyle, Ryan.
Okay, this one, I mean, I have some other ones, but favorite, this one is favorite song. Do you have a favorite song you like to listen to?
I do have some favorite. So again, with my age, I'm kind of a 80s kind of hair metal, hair nation kind of guy. And I really like a lot of Motley Crue stuff. I'm a Dr. Feelgood, Kickstart My Heart kind of guy, or some AC/DC. It's a long way to the top. That one usually gets turned up pretty loud in my vehicle when it comes on. I like the bagpipes. So I'm you know, Guns N' Roses. I really like that was a Appetite for Destruction was such a great album. Actually, I was gonna say cassette, but that dates me probably pretty far. But yeah, like Welcome to the Jungle, Patience is a good one by them. So any of that kind of Hair Nation stuff is really good. I also like some 70s yacht rock kind of things, but yeah, if I'm going to listen to something and I want to get pumped up, it's some Motley Crue or some Guns N' Roses or AC/DC is going to be cranked up pretty loud.
Do you have a favorite Christmas song or movie that you like during Christmas?
Ooh, I was just telling somebody I saw a meme the other day and it said Rambo was a Christmas movie because it had a Christmas tree in the background. But I really like Christmas Vacation. Clark Griswold is pretty good. Um, that would probably be one of mine. I don't know if Die Hard is really a Christmas movie, but I watch that every winter as well. So, but yeah, I would probably say Christmas Vacation, probably my favorite, and all the Hallmark movies, Christmas ones, I watch with my wife.
Okay, so you're on the high school activities board, right?
Yes, I am.
Maybe I can ask a few questions and
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can answer them all, but you can try to, okay?
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on the three class system?
Well, so interestingly enough, I actually was on the committee that kind of spearheaded the three class basketball proposal. And then I actually went and presented to the board at that time. Um, I really like it. I think it's a good thing. We had kind of talked about it quite a bit. And I said there are just some schools that I didn't think that, Beulah needed to play as part of our region. Obviously, we play them because they were in our region. But when you have schools like Richardson Taylor, that would be the one because I know they're pretty small, or Glenolin and Hebron. It didn't seem fair to me that that would be a team that would have to have a generational talented team to even have a chance to get to the state tournament. Um, Dickinson, Trinity, and Beulah kind of had a stranglehold on the Super Region 7, other than probably one year where it was, New England had that really, really good team, and they made the state tournament. And there were some other teams that were really pretty good. Bowman was good as well, but they had to have like super, super talented team to make a state tournament. It shouldn't have to be that way. And so I really pushed the three class part of it. I think it's been good. I think the middle class has been super competitive, and I think the smaller B schools are really happy with where that's at. Logistically, making sure that we get all the games on TV. I wish we would have, in my opinion, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board here, but I wish we could have all of the games televised and it would be on regular TV all the time instead of like you have to be on WDAY plus or whatever. So that would be the only thing, the only drawback in that is that sometimes some of those other games aren't as easily sued by the people in North Dakota.
Yeah. But some people don't like when they're all on the TV all the time. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It's kind of
Right. Yeah, you probably would be DVRing them and watching them over and over. And that is the thing. You have to kind of find that happy balance. But like I think a team that's playing in a fifth place game, that's still important for them. And I wish everybody across the state could see that without having to have a subscription to another feed or something like that. I think that would be really cool. Right now the Hazen girls are playing volleyball at the state tournament, and um, I was busy and didn't get to turn on my TV in my office and watch. But I think that's super important for those girls to be recognized across the state by people who can tune in and watch to be able to see them play. And I think the cool thing about the three class is with the qualifier games where you can actually get to the state tournament, you can mess up a game in the region tournament and still have a shot. And so I'm that's one of the biggest things that I really like about it is if you get second or third, you get a chance to still play to get there. And I think having the experience of a state tournament is really important for an athlete. Because it might be a once in a lifetime thing. There's lots of really great players in football or basketball or whatever that never get a chance to be in a state championship game or a state tournament. And it really is a really, really cool memory for those guys to have.
Yeah, I like those state qualifier ones. That's
Yeah, that might have been one of the best things that we came up with. And actually, I think one of the people that really pushed that was Terrell Jacobson, who is the athletic director in Alexander. That was one of the things that she brought forth on that three-class committee, and everybody really thought that was a great idea. So shout out to Terrell for that.
what else? Don't think I had it. Can't think of any other question. So are you ready for the winter sports to start? Starting
I'm
up
getting
pretty
there.
soon.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So one of the things that for us, and probably the same for Mr. Johnsrud, in Hazen is coming up with transportation to get our athletes back and forth for wrestling, and for us, it's getting hockey and the girls wrestlers over. For you guys in the fall, it's getting cross country runners over here, and all of that. So logistically, the transportation stuff is kind of a pain in the neck, just because of all of the scheduling that has to go in and the ahead of time and making sure drivers can get off. So that's been going full force. We have those schedules out and drivers looking at what they want to do. And um, we have three gym spaces that are usable here. We have our high school, our middle school, and then our old field house, which was the old middle school gymnasium. And so gym scheduling is also kind of a pretty hectic thing. And I know, like in Hazen, you guys have the elementary gym and the high school gym, and then trying to squeeze in, three boys basketball teams this winter and two girls basketball teams and junior high, uh, boys basketball, junior high girls basketball still going on, plus all of the youth teams that want to get in to do some travel basketball. So that's really another kind of a headache of of the winter is getting gym schedules figured out. Once we get to games and the officials show up and the fans come, man, that's the easy part. But it's all the other stuff that goes on kind of behind the scenes that can be kind of hectic. And then making sure the officials are there. That's always a scary thing because you can't really play a game if you don't have officials showing up. So,
I was reading how many like you guys have what Zap and Golden Valley going dealers for
yep, Zap, Golden Valley, and Dodge. We have
oh,
those three schools, and I think Zap came in like 95 or 96. And then the Dodge Golden Valley kind of came a little bit later. They just didn't have enough kids yeah, in those areas to really keep those schools open. And we do have some kids that live, by Halliday as well. So a little bit further from Dodge than that comes. So we have a pretty big district in that aspect of where kids are coming from.
because I was reading I think about Hazen because Center Stanton about boys basketball. I think I seen it in the paper or something.
Yeah. Yep. I've heard that they're pretty slim on numbers. I think the same with like Glenall and Hebron. I don't think they have a whole lot of guys that are playing basketball down there, and they didn't have a girls basketball team um, this year. They didn't have one last year, and I don't think they're having one this year. So that's kind of a scary thing when you think about, even where Beulah and Hazen are sometimes for numbers, growing up, um, even for you, probably when you were in elementary and junior high and then into high school, you guys probably always had 30 boys playing basketball and you had a C squad and a JV and a varsity and the same in Beulah, but numbers just kind of dwindle and participation rates are just kind of dwindling. And then you get to some of those small schools. Center Stanton's pretty small. There's not the communities of both of those are pretty small. So now you're limited there. And then if you don't have high participation or you just have people who can't play, it becomes really difficult to field teams. And the in if you lose the team, it's really hard to get it to come back. Um, the re to get kids back involved is really difficult. So I would hope that we can continue to have all the kids play and field teams throughout the area because I think it's good for your school and it's good for your community.
Yeah, it's tough for some of those smaller ones.
It really is.
I mean, if they can find one that they can still play, that would be nice.
Yeah. And the other thing too, Ryan, is when teams consolidate and co-op and you lose your identity. So for example, oh shoot. I just think of some of those small schools when you lose the name of your mascot, to me it your school starts to dwindle. And I think some of that school pride kind of disappears. And I think that then the community goes. And when you lose your school, when you co-op and your kids travel, say, from for example, Dodge and Golden Valley, and they come to Beulah, I think it's really difficult to get people to come to those communities and move in. And I'm not saying that they're bad communities. I just think it makes it difficult because your kid's going to be on a bus for 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 minutes, and the travel and those sorts of things. And so there's not as much to keep people there. And that's a difficult thing. We have a hard enough time in rural Western North Dakota keeping people there. So as long as we can keep schools open and kids playing and in vibrant communities, I think that's best for our state.
I think that's all the questions I had. Did you want to add any questions you wanted to ask?
I was just curious. I know you said you graduated in 2016 from Hazen, correct?
Yes.
Yep. So that would have. I'm trying to think of who some of those guys would have were back then. But I know, as far as your love of sports, did you play much, or were you involved a lot with those things? You guys have had a great run of coaches in Hazen. I know that a lot of Hall of Famers there. Were you involved with any of those sports teams in any capacity? And then maybe some of your favorite coaches that were in the Hazen school that you got to at least be around in class or whatever and be around.
Well, I didn't play any in high school, but I played some during the summer. I think I played
Okay.
with a few guys from Beulah. I think Cody Nelson was one.
Yep. I coached and taught Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one. And Trevor Zocker.
Yep.
I think there were some others, but I can't think of who the players were. But we played during the summer together, summer
Okay.
basketball. And I played some baseball. I didn't play a lot. My favorite was mainly basketball.
Okay. So like I'm thinking of some of those coaches, like obviously Mr. Johnson, Randy Johnson, and I think like I just visited with Coach Berglund. He was over here. Coach Berglund did some basketball stuff and was a really good golf coach, and you guys have had a run of some really really good people over there that were some really good positive influences for kids. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I had him in golf for a golf camp, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, he's pretty passionate and pretty good golfer too. Pretty passionate about golf.
Yeah. Do you got any favorite Thanksgiving meal that you're going to be having?
Well, we are going to travel out and we're going to see my son and daughter-in-law. So I think we're going to have some stuff done on the smoker. He kind of likes to use his smoker as well. So we're going to have some tri-tip, I think, and maybe some turkey breasts. I'm pretty a traditional kind of guy. I love the cranberries in a can. It looks when it comes out and it's shaped like a can, I don't, and I like that and stuffing and mashed potatoes and green bean casserole, but I'm kind of the only guy who likes that in our family. So for me, if we make that, I have a lot of leftovers. So we pretty much do some non-traditional things, but that would be my favorite. If I could go back and have some roast turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy and stuffing and all that good stuff, that would be my favorite. I'm a whole Thanksgiving traditional meal kind of guy. As you could probably tell if you see me stand up here, I look like I've eaten a few Thanksgiving meals. How about you? What's your favorite?
I like ham, kind of, and then not really traditional Thanksgiving, but something like that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of
Turkey.
non-traditional things. You know, um we've done some where we've done Fleischkekle. We've done some where we've made some homemade Chinese items and you know, we've done pizza and homemade pizza and those kind. So sometimes we get off track and we do some kind of crazy things, but yeah, it's sometimes it's kind of cool to do some other stuff, but I'm kind of a traditional meal guys would be my favorite. How about pie? Are you a pumpkin pie or pecan pie or
Pumpkin, yeah.
yeah, yeah. My sister's a big pumpkin pie fan, but more maybe the bowl of Cool Whip she puts on top.